What's up YouTube, Dave here from Zephyr Wargames, bringing you an updated Ancient Gear deck. So this is my personal build, and it's a 40 card version. There are 60 card versions out there. I haven't dived into that area yet. I've just been testing out and I absolutely love the deck. When the decks came out between this and Dinosaurs, I was like, I'm not too fussed about gears, but I'll get them anyway just to see what they can do. You know, and I thoroughly enjoy using them. So without further ado, I'm going to crack straight into it. They're very, very cheap to build and complete. Very, very simple. You can pump money into it and make them highly more competitive by putting stuff in like D-barrows and strikes, but there are also the alternatives like Grazy Prison that make them a little bit more budget. So, without further ado, I'm going to crack straight into it. Double Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. This card is amazing. If it wasn't so bad to kind of like open with it, I'd be playing him at free. He just combos off so well. Like if you get two of these guys out with Gear Town and Cannon, and then you have a Fortress and you've got another Gear Town because you play 3 Terraformings. When this guy attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards while it attacks. And when it attacks, you can pop one spell card on one spell or trap card on the field. So you can attack with Reactor Dragon, effect, pop Gear Town, get out another boss monster. Attack with that one. Attack with this one, effect, pop Fortress, get out another big boss monster. So from 2 boss monsters, you can end up with 4 boss monsters. It's absolutely mental. Play the one OG Ancient Gear Golem because, again, I think he's awesome. He's such a good card. And to be, you know, playing him for nostalgia reasons as well. And then he gives you the ability to get into your ultimate Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck. So this is, he's just, the only way you can bring him out is through Cannon. Again, Cannon's just really, really good. Catapult, sorry. Next up we play triple Ancient Gear Wyvern. Again, very, very important card in this deck. If this card is normal or special summoned, you add 1 Ancient Gear card. So it can search out your Fortress, you can search out your big bosses if you want them in hand, you can search out your Hunting Hounds, it can search out pretty much a good 80% of your deck. Its second effect is once per turn, if this card attacks, your opponent's monsters cannot activate their card effects until the end of the damage step. Next up we play triple Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. This is your poly on board and a 600 burner. Very straightforward on that one. Then we play double gold gadget, double silver gadget, and double Ancient Gear gadget. Now, the Ancient Gear gadget is kind of nice because when he's normal or special summoned, you declare 1 card type, monster, spell, or trap. This turn, if a monster you control attacks, your opponent's spell cards, trap cards, or monster effects, whichever you declare, cannot be activated. So, if you're going to attack with Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, if you then call monsters with your Ancient Gear gadget, you'll literally just go GG. So they can't be activated to the end of the damage step. So you literally can't activate spells, can't activate traps, and then can't activate monster effects to the end of the damage step. So it's very, very nice. And then we play the one Ancient Gear box because there's a nice deck thinning kind of combo that can also help with Hunting Hound. Is if you, whether you do this, search this out with Giga X or search it out with Ancient Gear Wyvern, this then goes off to add you in the gadget. So you now have 2 more in hand. If you have a Hunting Hound on board, you then have a poly that you can use these guys. So, I mean, if you've used Wyvern, let's say you use Wyvern and you have Hunting Hound on board as well, straight away that's your 4 Ancient Gear cards you need to get into your Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, who is just an absolute don. So, and then we round it off with 1 Maxi, because you open it, amazing, you don't see it, disappointing, but not end of the world, so you have to play it 1 because it's just too good. Next up for the spells, so triple Ancient Gear Catapult. This card is awesome. Now, I didn't use the second effect when I first tried it as much, but it's so good. So, Catapult. While you control no monsters, you target 1 face-up card you control, destroy it, and then special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your deck. So, you activate this on Gear Town or Fortress, you're then using their effects, so you get a double special summon. Then in the graveyard, not the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, by the way, because you can only activate 1 Ancient Gear Catapult effect per turn. You can banish this card, pop 1 face-up card you control. Sorry. Target 1 face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon 1 Ancient Gear token. So, not only does it give you a token, which can then be used as fusion summoning, if you've popped like Gear Town or you've popped Fortress, you then get another special summon off. So again, he turns into a 2-for-1 kind of deal. And the best thing about that is, like I said, the tokens act as the Ancient Gear monsters that you need. So you can use the tokens to get into your case Ancient Giant if you want. Or, let's say you popped Fortress, you bring back a Hound, and then you bring out the token, you can then go straight into your Howlitzer. A very, very good card, insanely good. Triple Gear Town. Now, Gear Town is a very, very, very interesting card. and I'll get to that when we get to the extra deck, because there's a little bit of a question or a to-do about it. Anyway, you want to see Gear Town as much as you want in your starting hand, so that's why you play triple Gear Town and triple Terraforming. You know, sometimes it can suck, which is why sometimes I'd probably want to play 2, but if you open up with that cannon, and maybe your card, like, the extra card you put in for this Terraforming, you know, you kind of want it. The cannon Gear Town combo is just too strong in this deck. Double Fortress. Now, I did have this at 2, but you don't want to see this too early on, unless you open up with your big boss monsters. So I'm trying it out at 2. This can easily go back up to 3. I basically put in a Future Fusion for the final one, which when we get to Future Fusion, I'll talk about why I've got that in there. So I'm trying this out at 2. I did have it at 3. I'm going to test it out to see if I see it enough, because it is searchable through Wyvern, so if I do need it, I can search it. Next up, I play double Twin Twister and a single MST. Sometimes you know, Twin Twisters pop your opponent's stuff, amazing, but sometimes if you're in a real sticky situation, you can pop your own Fortress or pop your own Gear Town just to, you know, get things going. Can easily take out the MST for another Twin Twister if you want, but this is just for the ability that if I top deck an MST, I'm a lot happier than if I top deck a Twin Twister with nothing to discard. Again, this could easily come out if you want to play your third Fortress. I then play double Power Bond and a single Overload Fusion. Now, Power Bond is basically poly on crack, insanely good. Now, the issue with Overload Fusion is it can only get you into Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. Now, with Future Fusion, there we go. Future Fusion, the reason I like this is because it can set your graveyard up for Chaos Ancient Gear Giant and an Overload Fusion play. So if you wanted to focus on a 60 card engine, maybe with Grass and that, Future Fusion helps out massively, and then I'd probably say play more Overload Fusions. In this build, I'm testing out a 2-1-1 kind of combination. Now, Power Bond is just literally because it's game. Like, you activate these, you know, he's coming out with 9k, he's coming out with 2k, like, and he's coming out with like 88k. It's just insanely strong plays. But obviously it does have the downside at the end of the game, but you would like to think that if you bring this guy out with a Power Bond, you've got game. Yeah, like I said, Overload Fusion helps out massively well with Future Fusion, because if this stays on the field for 2 standby phases, you're going to end up with 2 of these bad boys on board. So after your first standby phase, you can activate Overload Fusion, get this bad boy out. Then when Future Fusion resolves, you're getting this bad boy out, and you're just like, and you can even play rank 10s if you wanted to. So I'm going to try out Future Fusion, see how consistent it is, and see how well it works, and kind of go from there. Next up, I play the 1 Soul Charge, the 1 Dark Hole. Now, the reason I play the Dark Hole, not the Red Geki, is because there are some times when I'll open up with like Gear Town, but no Catapult, and a Wyvern. So if I normal summon the Wyvern can search out my Catapult. I can then activate Dark Hole, nuking my board, letting me get my Catapult Gear Town play. You can easily play a Regeki, entirely up to you. And then the 1 limit removal, because apart from Chaos Ancient Giant and Ancient Gear Howlitzer, this is, you know, this game. It's a game state in this deck. It's insanely good. Right, 1 Call of the Haunted for the traps. This is an Ancient Gear Reborn. I just couldn't find my one. Ancient Gear Reborn is searchable and it's continuous. So it's very, very nice. So yeah, this is Ancient Gear Reborn. Just see it at that. I will find one, don't worry. And then Solemn Warning. Now, the reason I only play 2 traps is because with the plays of Wyvern, you can't set cards when you activate its effect. So you can put stuff in, I would say keep the traps to a minimum if you can, but put stuff in like Grazy Prison, because it's quite easy to get a fusion monster on board, and because your fusion monsters are so strong, when you do get them on board, activating Grazy Prison is just like a lockout for your opponent, and you've pretty much got game. Next up. Right, into the extra deck. Double Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. This card is all amazing. 4 Ancient Gear monsters, must be fusion summoned, cannot be special summoned by other ways. It's unaffected by your opponent's spells and trap cards. Your opponent's monster effects. Your opponent's monsters cannot activate their effects during the battle phase. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and if it attacks a defense fusion monster, inflict piercing battle damage. So just imagine this with a Power Bond. It's shudders. Next up, triple Ancient Gear Howlitzer. 2 Ancient Gear monsters, unaffected by other card effects, must always remember that. During your main phase, you can inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. If this card, you can only use the effect of Howlitzer once per turn. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, so this can get you out Golem as well. And then rounding up fusions, we've got an Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. This card is just old school, as you can see by like the tiny text. So it's Ancient Gear Golem and 2 Ancient Gear monsters, which is very, very easy to do, especially with Catapult. This monster cannot be special summoned without being fusion summoned first, during battle phase between this and a defense position monster, it does piercing battle damage. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap card until the end of the damage step. If this card is destroyed, you can special summon 1 Ancient Gear Golem from your graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. So again, that gets you your Golem out. Now on to the ranks. So I play 1 rank 9. Now, believe it or not, I do only have 2 targets in this, but it's very easy to do. You can use the Catapult play. Catapult with Gear Town, get you 2 level 9s out, which is your Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. Do your damage if you want, overlay into this, and then banish 1 from either your opponent's hand, 1 card your opponent controls, 1 card from the top, your opponent's graveyard, or from the top of their deck. So very, very good card, that one. Like it a lot. And it's a machine as well, so you can use limit removal on it if you wish to. Now, I play Utopia and Utopia Lightning package, very straightforward. Just for your gadget plays if you need to get over anything massively dangerous. 1 Castel, 1 Corrigan Knight. You can take this out, so the other option I do have for you guys is number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon. Now, you can bring this guy in, so these are the 2 that you would, or this is what I'd suggest swapping around. Now, the reason I've got Corrigan Knight is if my opponent activates like MST or Twin Twister or something like that, or something that targets specifically, I can use him to redirect to my Gear Town or Fortress if I want it to. Whereas with Hope Harbinger, you'll basically be overlaying 2 Howitzers, which with Soul Charge you can do quite easily, and there is the ability of getting 2 out at the same time. If you have like a Poly and a Hound, or if you have an Overload Fusion and Hound, stuff like that. Sorry, not Overload Fusion, Power Bonds and stuff like that. But I feel Corrigan Knight will probably see a bit more play than Hope Harbinger. Heavy Armoured Train Iron Wolf. This is very, very good. It allows you one of your machine type monsters you control, it can attack directly the turn, but other monsters you control can't. If this card is destroyed by opponent's card effect, by battle or card effect, and sent to the graveyard, you add 1 level 4 machine. So he's a Giga X when it's destroyed. Speaking of which, you play the 1 Giga X. You should know this by now. He searches out your level 4 machines or lower. 1 Diamond Direwolf, because he can pop himself, and then if you wanted to, you can then pop your own Gear Town or your Fortress and stuff like that and start going off that way. And to round up, number 59 Crooked Cook. Now this guy causes a lot of issues. So, I'm going to try and clear this up while I can. So, the question that I've had before, I'm going to zoom out so you can see, well, the beautiful mat and the board. So, Crooked Cook is on board. You've made Crooked Cook, and you have Ancient Gear Fortress, and you have Gear Town. Right, Crooked Cook's effect, detach 1. Sorry guys, detach, so while you control no other cards on the field, this card is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. Very, very nice if someone tries to card you slumber you, detach, nuke the board, and then their card you slumber won't go through if they don't destroy a card. Once per turn, during each player's turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, destroy as many other cards you control as possible. This card gains 300 attack until the end of this turn for each monster destroyed by this effect and sent to the graveyard. Right. Okay, so obviously another good thing about this one is during the battle phase, you attack with 2 monsters, activate his effect, he goes up by an extra 600. Anyway, so the confusion that Crooked Cook plays a part in is when he activates his effect, some people are saying that Gear Town misses timing. Now, I can say that when the board is like this, it does not miss timing. So the way it works is he nukes the board, they go off. Now, because he doesn't get an attack boost, the effect's resolved. There's nothing more to do. So these 2 can then go off. Whereas if the board was like this, for example, and you decide to use Crooked Cook's effect, because he's destroyed a monster, the attack boost then goes after the destruction, which then means Gear Town unfortunately misses timing. It's a very, very short window, very, very short, and it's a big difference between, you know, having 2 gears on board with a 2300 unaffected monster, well, not unaffected monster because you'd have 2 more monsters on board, and missing out on Gear Town. So yeah, once this was brought to my attention, I did trial it out as best I can. I tried so many different situations and I learned a lot about Gear Town. I tested it, I researched it, because it was a very, very confusing thing, because I couldn't understand why Catapult worked and Gear Town with Gear Town, but Crooked Cook doesn't. It is all down to the attack boost. If he doesn't gain his attack boost, Gear Town goes off. If he does gain an attack boost, Gear Town misses timing. Simple as that. Right. So that is it after that quick little explanation. I hope that was kind of clear. If you do have any questions, just let us know and we'll see what we can do in the comments below and see if we can answer them for you. But that is it for the Ancient Gear deck. It's very, very cheap, very, very budget. You can put, you know, it doesn't have to be budget. If you want it, if you want more track protection, by all means, put in your bigger money cards. That's absolutely fine. The most expensive card in the deck is probably your Utopia the Lightning at the moment because he is about a £15 card. And I know Ancient Gear Golem's going up in price, but you don't have to play him. Your boss monsters are mainly in the deck. So yeah, very, very simple. Actually, I'll tell you that Power Bonds and Overload Fusions are stupid money at the moment. But yeah, it's still doable. It's very, very doable. It's very, very nostalgic of the GX era. And it's very, very fun. Like the whole, you know, back row, no worries, you can't do anything is amazing. So thanks for watching. Hope this helps. Hope this gives you some ideas. You pretty much need three of the decks, and then a couple of extra deck cards and a couple of main deck cards, which are easy to pick hold of, and you're done. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. If you would like to see the 60 card variant, please let me know, and I will work on one. I'm pretty sure Joe's going to have one up his sleeve to show off at some point. So yeah, thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time guys, as always, happy dueling. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available. We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button, right in the bottom left hand corner.